Hey guys, Josh from Photographic Flow, and I'm out here early spring getting some nice cherry blossoms. They're just starting to pop out. Got some tips for you on how to shoot and capture beauty that does not last. I've got my 90mm macro on, so we're gonna start with getting some close-ups and some very detailed shots of some of the cherry blossoms that just started to bloom. And yesterday it downpoured all day, which is pretty good for this time of year before the blossoms are coming out. Kind of helps them. Once they're in full bloom though, that harsh rain can destroy it quick. So we still have some raindrops on there, so I'm gonna try and get some of those shots. Another tip I have for you is for aiming for a dark background or a light background. You want that contrast to isolate your main focus of the cherry blossom. Another tip is to switch up lenses. I started on a macro lens because I wanted the detail. Now I'm gonna switch to maybe a mid-range, go for like a 50mm and see what kind of shots we can get there. When I am shooting early in the blooming times, I like to get more macro because the whole scene hasn't fully developed yet. Here we're in a Japanese garden scene and it just doesn't fully create that scene on a wide angle lens yet, but we'll give it a shot. Starting with the 50mm. Two more important tips that I have for you involve filters. The first one is using a Pro Mist filter, black Pro Mist filter. These are great when there's sun out. Without the sun, like today, it's kind of beaming here and there. I'm able to, really bloom those highlights a bit when it comes out. Otherwise, it doesn't have a huge effect on the photo, but it's a great one to keep in your backpack. Another is a CPL, color polarizer lens, and this will make all of the subtle colors in the cherry blossoms really pop out. Another tip photographing cherry blossoms is to add in some people. Portrait photography with the cherry blossoms in the background can really enhance a photo, both setting the scene and creating that beautiful backdrop, but still having your subject as the highlight and the feature. I got a few pics here of my kids when we were out shooting last year, so it's in full bloom. And Miana was there and I got a side angle of her here and there. And sometimes when you're shooting a portrait, you want to have a handful of the blossoms closer to your lens and maybe blurred out, but you have to be careful. I thought originally this was a good shot, but then later on I realized that I wasn't paying attention to the eyes and it just wasn't the right angle. Because although it was not sunny out, there was still enough sun that was giving a bit of shadow. So this created sort of like dead eyes. When I realized that, then I had Miana face towards the sun, a little bit chin up. And in the next shot, you can see that it came out a lot smoother and it really softened and highlighted the face. So when Miana was out there shooting with me, she was on the 100 to 400, and she was loving the telephoto aspect of it. And she got some portrait photos of my wife Satomi and I, and it had started to rain, so there was really no way around having this big umbrella, but it was still a nice scene. And I liked that she was able to capture a lot of the cherry blossoms that had already fallen on the ground. Granted, my foot is a little close to the frame there, but it's Miana's shot, so I'll let it slide. Another tip is to pay attention to your overall composition. And as you can see in this next photo here, I love this is from a few years ago. Miana was even smaller. And I love that she was just playing around. So this is less of a composed shot and, more of a snapshot in the moment. If I had really paid attention, I should have shifted to the side a little bit, because what we tend to forget in the moment is there's a lot of trees and things like that going on in the background. And I realized she's got a tree coming out of the top of her head. Another tip is to play around with some ICM, or intentional camera movement. If you want to play around with some abstract photos, I definitely encourage you to try out some of the slower shutter and the camera movement in your shots. They're going to have a lot of the beautiful colors coming through with the pinks and the whites, and maybe some of the green or brown as well if you want that in there. Here I slowed my shutter speed down to about 1/5 of a second. A lot of the cherry blossoms are, coming down at an angle off of the tree. So I wanted to kind of keep that angle and let the shutter drag. I mentioned changing focal lengths earlier, and changing your aperture can also have some really dramatic effects in your shots. I found the local cherry blossoms near me, there's a lot of them. They've planted a lot, which is really nice, but still the background tends to be too busy. So if you can blur that background and get that bokeh effect, that can really keep your attention focused on the flower. And just because the cherry blossoms are often cute and pretty and it's a beautiful scene, I want you to experiment with some creative editing or the way that you're choosing the background, and don't hesitate to get some moody shots as well. Another side to the cherry blossom is, in Japanese, they call it mono no aware. And this is that appreciation of the moment and the natural fleeting beauty. That's a deep symbol that the cherry blossom has in Japan. And another way to express that is that it doesn't always have to be so cheerful and happy and high key. Feel free to get lower, get the bold, moody colors out there.